So we will start with a small delay in the different events and conference had a small delay this morning. So I apologize for this. So I am very happy to welcome you for this conference on how the innovation, which is at the core of this summit, can enhance the resilience in the luxury sector. So I'm Benjamin Guitzendaner. I'm leading the consumer good and retail practice of Bearing Point Geneva, working mainly in Western Switzerland for luxury retail and consumer good clients. To give you a brief overview on Bearing Point, we are a management consulting firm. We deliver management consulting activities based on the review of operating models and strategy, so operational strategy, and at the same time we implement some technology. As today the barrier is rather limited between process, operational model, and technologies. So we deliver mainly 6 services, which go from operational excellence, review of organization, test of new business, and also process digitization, customer journey change, and also project on cutting edge technology, on innovation by technologies. We are more than 6,000 consultants all over the world, centrally with a good footprint in Europe, and we have 20 countries where we are present. In terms of innovation, we know what it is about. We have just been ranked the second year in a row by Bilance and the PME magazine as one of the top innovative companies in Switzerland. So we are ranked number 3 within the international group. So we have also good example of on how we drive innovation internally within Bearing Point. We are here today to discuss and to exchange on innovation and the link between innovation and resilience. The why we have chosen this topic today to discuss with you is that we are when the world is facing different turbulences. The first one is the collapse of demand in China, with uncertainties there, people being less show-off and making a trade-off on where they invest their money and reducing their spend on luxury, and at the same time also more youth unemployment and less confidence from consumer that are hitting the China market, and the Chinese market is 40% of the luxury market, so it has definitely an impact. In terms of demand and supply, the turbulences and the global economic uncertainties, geopolitical tension also make the business less less growing, and it will remain stable. There are a lot of new regulation coming from all over the world. Of course, there are some linked to sustainability, but there are other ones. There's a new regulation on the battery in the US that are impacting the watch industry, which has to change all the screw on their watch so that the kid cannot open the watch and eat the battery. So it has an impact on the operations of some players. And last but not least, the sustainable transformation. Many of the luxury players do not meet the sustainability development goals. Consumers become more and more cautious also of what they purchase, and so sustainability is also at the heart of their purchasing decision. So luxury companies need to adopt an innovative process and approach to address the business in the next years. Innovation, and I will start with saying something that maybe is a bit strange for luxury brands, as the product has been for a lot of years and decades at the heart of innovation. But for us, the product is not at the heart of innovation, but we talk more about the business model. So for us, the DNA of innovation is built on 4 markers. The first one is business model, which embed the product, but it's the way you deliver the value to the customer. It can be through products that you sell, but it can be through product that you rent. It can be through other services that you offer. Luxury brands are also, and just next door you have the Breitling kitchen. It's a new way to do business in luxury. So we prefer to talk about business model. The second one is the client relationship. How the brand interact with customer with more personalized services, seamless with more experience. The third marker is organization and governance. We'll see afterward what it means, but you have to set a specific way your organization will behave to deliver more innovation, and without a dedicated organization, you cannot innovate. And we had this morning the morning show with innovation person from LVMH from Richemont that are in a dedicated organization. And the last marker is the leadership and culture. The culture is a key element of innovation. So you can have the best process, you can have the organization. If your brand is not nurtured by an innovation culture, it will not be sustainable. And you will say, we'll miss technology. Is technology one of the 4 markers? For us, technology is more an enabler of disruption. Technology itself is not innovating in a sense of doing business. Technology is more a powerful enabler of disruption, and I can give you some examples. Going 2 centuries ago with the electricity. Electricity was a big innovation, but then it led to mass production. So that was the change that we saw in the business in the operating model. If we look at the TV, the invention of the TV, we can take the example of the horse racing bet. So before TV, you could only bet on the place where the horse were racing. Now it's broadcasted, and that it has really changed this business of horse racing bet. So it has created a new business model. If we talk about internet, so internet, and 20 years ago, the arrival of Napster with the all illegal download forced the music industry to change its business model and to go for streaming and with a different payment model. If we talk about the GPS, so the GPS is a technological change, but Uber has delivered a business model around that, using the GPS as a technology to provide the localized on-demand transportation. So we see more technology as an enabler. And second introduction topic is about what does it mean successful innovation. So there's a popular belief that would say that innovation is R&D. No, innovation is not only R&D. R&D is invention, but innovation is a combination of R&D plus business R&D plus execution. And if we look at this study and figures, so the companies that are the top 10 spender in terms of R&D are not ranked within the top 10 innovators. So innovation is really much more than R&D, and we'll see how it what does it mean for the luxury industry. Just before we enter into the detail of the presentation, I would like to ask you to for a question and to rate the luxury industry on these 4 markers in terms of maturity from 1 to 5. So you can go to this Menti and vote and give your perception of the maturity of the luxury industry in the innovation.
Could you specify around business model? And for us to raise, maybe just specify what you mean by it precisely.
The business model in the sense of addressing, so having a value proposition to deliver client need with a specific operating model, specific supplier, and a specific model of revenue. If they innovate, considering the business model as a whole, or if they consider more just the product or just the new client segment or new geography.
Sure, it worked. When we voted, it didn't submit, so why not?
C'est bon, c'est bon. Are you all done with voting? So you rank the client relationship first, then organization, governance, leadership and culture, and business model. The latest, we will give you our assessment of perception, which is pretty similar to yours. This was our assessment. And in fact, yes, the client relationship is really what the luxury industry and where the brands are good. I mean, they have implemented the last years a lot of hospitality codes and personalization, exclusive experience. The business model, and so I mean, we share the same point of view, is if the weakest point. And the reason is that in the luxury industry, the product is king, and especially if we think about the watch industry here in Switzerland, it has always been a business of novelty. 20 years ago, it was a fully wholesale business where every year the wholesaler were expecting novelties. What you have new this year, and it was really a business around product and it. So it will require some change to be really. So that the business model will replace the product. Organization and governance. Innovation, it does not live at the top of the organization. It's often side and also in the marketing, in the product marketing department. And leadership and culture. There's not a culture of failure in the luxury industry. So there's not a culture of allocating times to innovation programs to have some ideas that can be run or not. So it's also a point where there are some improvement areas. If we take precisely the example of the watch pre-owned business, so a lot of studies are predicting that it will be a fast-growing business with a lot of demand, but we see that this kind of study for years, and it has difficulties to start. Very few brands have really entered the CPO market, and the main reason is that first one, the margin are really different when you compare the second-hand market to the new product market. And if you try to launch this new activity and that within an executive committee, you have to compare the two activities, or also with the relationship with the board, they will say, why launch this activity that is less profitable than the other one? So it has to be really thought as a business model. The client relationship, there's still a dilemma to have like second-hand corner in shops where, I mean, for the automotive industry, also the luxury automotive industry, it's not a problem anymore. The same teams are today responsible for launching the CPO program, and launching the new products, or at least they are linked within the marketing department, so they are not fully independent to run this project. And it's a business. It has been a business of novelties, so the new product is king, and the second-hand product is less renowned. So that's, by example, the illustration of the assessment. So now, what is a resilient company? A resilient company, and that has been theorized by Alex Osterwalder and Yves Pigneur, who designed the business model Canva. And business model Canva is more dedicated to new companies and to startups. Here, the starting point is that the company that are successful do not prioritize exploitation and exploration. They do both at the same time. They are good at exploitation on the top right. They have existing business models. They run these existing business models. They change it. They improve it. And if necessary, they stop some product or services, or they make some acquisition to be stronger. And on the other side, they explore, they create new business models, they test those new business models until the value proposition emerge. They invent, and they try to reduce risk of launching this new business. And also they have no fear to kill some initiatives. Each side has a different purpose, and if you are in the exploit world on the top right, you will manage a portfolio of products and services, and it's a world with low uncertainty. And if you are in the explore quadrant, you will be in a business with high uncertainty. You will be exploring, searching, and trying to improve your business model, and killing 90% of the initiative that you launch to keep only the one that will succeed. Because in terms of management funnel, in the explore world, you will have to run and to assess a lot of projects, and only one of those will go to the exploit side and will be a permanent business model. So you have to make a lot of small investment at the beginning to have an innovation culture, to animate this process of innovation. Also, there are some tools that can support the innovation funnel. But you need to make a lot of small investment at the beginning, and only idea that gets traction are retained and get the following funding to be tested and to confirm if there will be a successful business model that can go to exploitation. The explore world, the objective is really to de-risk the project, and to de-risk it, you need to test more. You will have a lot of opportunities coming from bottom left that you want to go to rising star. And if you are on a safe play side, then you have less risk, but the expected return is not that high. So you have to test again, to pivot your business model, to try to make it a rising star. And if not, you need to have the courage to kill these initiatives. When on the exploit side, it's more about growing, managing teams, boosting, and keeping your business model in the product engine. If you go from top right to the left, it means that your ID will be, or your business model will be dead. You will have to replace it, or you will have to exploit it or to shift it a bit differently. So ultimately, the LC exploitant are the one that are able to take the IDs from falling or rising stars and making it a profit engine. So once we have set this, what does it mean, or what does it mean for in terms of business model or organization governance or leadership and culture? So we will go into the detail of number 1, number 3, and number 4, as we all assess that the client relationship is the one where the luxury industry is good at. So innovation through business models, and I will illustrate through a couple of examples. What does it mean? So one example for the explore side. We have worked for a client which is called Rhodia. It's well-known chemistry industry, 6 billion revenue, for a business unit that was doing filter tow, and they did some what they call innovation, like with color filter tow, but they were extremely linked with the cigarette market, which was a decreasing market. So they had no choice than reinventing themselves. And we went into taking their technology. So they had a really particular technology to produce this filter tow from wood pulp. With a specific process called acetylation, and we searched for all patents that were available using this technology, and we found one that was tested and launched. They did the acquisition of the license, and they shift to do some premium wood. So it's wood that you purchase around 200-300 francs per square meter. And they did build a factory using this license and the patent that they have chosen. So coming from and deciding also to enter the market, the B2B2C market. So selling to retailer, where in the filter tow business was a more B2B market. So it was a test that was done. That was successful, coming really from the idea to a successful business model that was then transferred to exploitation. But it's a real change from one product to another one that have like nothing to do. But they had launched this innovation team to search for ideas and to come with new business model. There are more examples. So another famous example is the Fujifilm story. So they changed from the photographic film to skincare, to high-end skincare. Using some of the technology that they had. So there are several examples of company that explored and really, in a sense of not going and doing the same business or just adapting the business, but really searching for new business models. On the exploit side, we have a good example, and we took Elite Litry as an example. So they are part of the Innovation Award this year for hospitality and experience. Their business was to sell mattress. So they continue to produce mattress, but they sell it different way on a per-use mode. So they invoice the hotel only for the nights where the mattress are used. So there's a chip into the mattress that is knowing if the mattress has been used or not. And so it's an example of how in the exploit mode, you can slightly change your business model, but being still in the same in the same area with the same product that you produce. And then it will open them to provide new services. Having a chip, being connected into the room, they can then more easily enter into services for hotel. So it's a typical example that I think the luxury can take example of. It's selling a bit differently the product with a revenue model that is not only to sell. We have run a study on the watch industry beginning of this year with identifying what we call 8 pulse checks, which are tendency that we recommend the CEO to follow. It's like the balance scorecard of a CEO in the watch industry, where we have identified 8 major transformation areas, from pre-owned market to more e-commerce, to going to India, to launching new services. The study, if you want, the study is available in the front of the room. You can take one example at the end. And all of those, we have tried to put it either in the exploit or in the explore world. And what we observe is that only 2 of the pulse check are in explore. So there's the pre-owned market capture, which is the first example that I gave, that is still searching its business model, and a pulse check around new services. If we talk about insurance or financing solution, or leasing the watches, which are initiatives or innovation that are still assessed and explored and not really in exploitation, where the e-commerce is one of those that is exploited and really rising star. The retail mix, so to change from wholesale to retail, is also bankable with less risk. And the road to India, it's the similar business model, but doing it in another geography, maybe with different codes. When the watchmaker wanted, it's the scarcity of watchmaker. So it's something that needs to be managed in the current business model, trying to search for new source of watchmaker. And the ESG and CSR commitment are mandatory or compulsory requirement, and that needs to be embedded in current business model. So it has more an impact on the exploit side. So it shows that out of the top 8 trends for the watchmaking industry from now on to 2030, 6 are more dedicated to exploit and 2 for explore, showing a bit that the watch industry can still improve on the way they explore new business models. Why it is important to consider new business models? We have run a study around 2,000 companies within Europe, and we have divided this company on different business models. So 64% are asset builder, and only 11% are technology curator, and only 1% are what we call network operator. So it's more like platform business. And what we observe is that the companies with mono business models have a market capitalization to revenue ratio, which is lower than the one with a mixed business model. And they have also a growth that is 4% per year versus 8% for the companies that have a business model that is mixed. So it is really key to think in terms of business model and also to balance the portfolio of business model. That's why it's important to launch a lot of small initiatives without boundaries, looking at various business models and testing it in the explore in the explore mode and then to transfer to the exploit mode. And if we look at the examples, I mean, the best valuated company that we know, so Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Amazon, they all have balanced, or I would say mixed business model with different portfolios. So these are really, it confirms that this example is also valid for large groups. Now that we are, I would say that we are done with innovation by business model. The second item where the luxury industry is not really mature as the organization and governance. If we go back to those two worlds, in fact, the best practice is to have those two worlds led by two different people. The exploit mode is what we know today. There's a CEO in charge of the execution and the team, so CEO, CFO, CMO, CSO, and their job is to manage the current business, to boost the current business, and if it does not work, to stop some product, also to renovate if possible by shifting some business models. Where on the other side, the chief entrepreneur is more risk taker, investing in a lot of initiatives, testing it, doing some ideation session and killing the initiatives that are not profitable. And the companies where it is successful are the one, and there are not a lot, but that have implemented the organizational structure with this chief entrepreneur directly linked to the board at the same level as the CEO, so that the innovation in the explore world are not assessed by the CEO, are not assessed by people that have an execution or an exploitation mindset. And under the chief entrepreneur, so we identify three types of profile. The first one is the portfolio manager. So he is looking at all new opportunities, new business models that align with the company strategy. So he's really searching and trying to brainstorm and to put as much ideas as possible. The chief venture capitalist is the one that allocates money for the discovery. So on the starting initiative, small amount of money, and then if it gets promising more and more, to test and to confirm that it's a good innovation. And the chief risk officer is the one that is viewing the initiative from the risk perspective, and he understands how to run the experiment without putting the company at risk, or with the idea of decreasing the risk. There are a couple of companies that have implemented this structure, not in the luxury industry. There are some more in the service industry. A famous one is Ping An. It's an insurance company in Asia, but we will give an example that maybe is closer to us and that we know is Google, Alphabet. I mean, Alphabet, they have one part of the organization, the Google business, which is really the cash cow business. It's the exploit world, and then they have a part of the organization which is called other bets, and for all other bets they have they call it a CEO, but in fact it's the chief entrepreneur of this other bet that have the mission to identify new opportunities and to make Verily or G-Fiber or Google Vehicle, different type of innovation to the exploit mode. And the CEO of Google is not so. So the CEO of GFiber really are not direct report of the CEO of Google. They are reporting directly to Alphabet. So there's no risk that an ID at GFiber, so in the fiber investment, will be assessed or killed by someone from Google that has an exploit mindset. So that's really one of the key for innovation is as much as possible to not to put any hierarchical link between exploitation and innovation or exploration. Then the last marker of innovation, it was leadership and culture. We will also go through different examples on how to build a culture. So it's not something that you learn into the book, but there are several examples that can be used for that. If we start with Amazon, so Amazon really introduced a culture of failing. So it's a failure-oriented culture. They think long-term. They do bold investment without certainty. And their innovation culture is a blend of customer focus, also data decision driven decision making. They have really a long-term vision on their innovation and high tolerance for experimentation and risk. No one will be blamed at Amazon for taking a risk and fail. He will be encouraged to do it again and to do it again. 3M, so known for the creation of the Post-it, for instance, Post-it note. So the Post-it note is a result of an unexpected collaboration between a researcher who wanted to create a super strong adhesive and another who wanted to have a bookmark that wouldn't slip. And by having those two persons interacting, so it's called serendipity, making two people meet when they usually not have to do some work or business together, could create really good ideas. And they are good at making teams that are not used to work together, but they physically put them together so that the people they meet and they exchange during their break, during the coffee lunch, and it went to several innovations from 3M. Swisscom, more close to us, has launched an innovation program called Kickbox to empower their employee to bring new ideas to life. So they can submit their ideas, and if the ideas is retained, they get 20% of the time is free to work on this idea. And they got a coach and they got a budget also to take the ideas to a proof of concept, and then it's followed. And if the idea is successful, then your team is rewarded, and it can be launched as a new service. The last one, and so we discussed it. Laetitia from LVMH presented it yesterday and this morning again. It's their mentoring program. So disrupt, act, risk to be an entrepreneur, where they really encourage to be intrapreneur. So within the group, they invite people from a group talent to suggest for innovative ideas, and to turn it into concrete solution. They have a platform, so technological platform where people can input several ideas, even if it's not for their brand. So she gave this morning an example of someone from Ruinart that can give an advice to Sephora. So it's really cross maison. people, because they think that people, even if as they are consumer of all their maison, or they can be consumer of all their maison, they have good ideas. So it's open to everybody to give some innovation ideas for other maison. And that's also a way through a program like a cross-brand program to foster innovation culture within the company. This was, I would say, this was the essence of what we had to share in terms of how to drive innovation in the luxury industry. And really, the key takeaways is, I mean, the first one is on please innovate, thinking at business model first, not just product or not just using technology. Of course, product will be part of your business model, or technology will be part of your business model, but technology can be useful in the operation, or can be useful to connect with supplier or with client, or to make a new revenue model. But it's really an enabler, and so technology is not innovation in itself, and it's more than product. It's a business model, a service that you would like to offer to your customer. The product will be part of it, of course, but consider the full business model. Second one is where to put the money. The money, do not put all your innovation on R&D. It has to be R&D, business R&D, and execution. And the more you can try to separate the explore world from the exploit world, so that the exploit world will focus on growing and making money with existing and proven business model, where explore will use the investment money to test a lot of initiative, to kill 90 or 99% of the initiative, and to select only the one that has a proven business model and review model. And if you want to deepen and put into practice, so I can recommend you 3 books. The Invisible Company from Alex Osterwalder and Yves Pigneur. Our study on the business model portfolio management, especially in the digital age, what can be done for companies, that you can download on the website. And some nice books also from Xavier Comtesse on resilience and innovation, that tell the story a bit differently, but always around the 4 markers that we had identified. So thank you very much for your attention, and it's time for question. I was quicker than expected, so that we can finish on time, I hope. Yes?
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting. Maybe I actually have 2 questions. So the first one is more clarifying one. So when you say business model, what you mean key strategic choices about where to play in terms of markets, customers, product segments, and also key strategic choices about how to win, right? So it's more like execution, how you structure, how you organize, things like that.
You want my view on what my definition of business model? So to launch a new business, what is commonly said is that you have to not to ask your client what he is willing for, but you have to observe your client and see what could be of interest for him, either to reduce cost or to improve his feeling or whatever. So once you have identified this need, you have first to define the value proposition, what you would like to deliver to this client. Meaning, he has some pains, you would like to relieve the pains. What you would like your client to gain from your value proposition. And then once you have your value proposition, you have to put all together what you will sell exactly, what will be your revenue model, and how you will supply what you sell or manufacture it. So connecting with partner, connecting with supplier. So it's really the combination of all, and how you can then execute it on and scale it. Because often the difficulty is, so it's easy to deliver to 1, 2, or 5 clients, but when it comes to 10,000, you have also to look how you can scale it in your business model and how your operations are scalable. So it's all those dimensions that we include in the business model.
Just a question. How will you justify the 4 new salaries of a chief entrepreneur, chief risk, chief portfolio to a company? Because it's a lot of investment only for hiring those people, then doing the investment in the innovation. Do you really think that the CEO will be okay to spend so much on this?
Yeah, there's a return on investment. There are some innovation budget. It's just that you have to have an operational model to do it properly. So instead of putting all your money on R&D, you can do those recruitments. And please, yes, usually the CEO has not to be part of this decision. So he's on the expert side, and it's more on the board to decide. So I know that the work is more to convince and convert the boards to go more into this direction. But so I do not think that it's the barrier is 4 new salaries. It can also be people already in your organization that you decide to move to this specific chief entrepreneur branch that you have clearly identified with a specific mindset that you know they will run your portfolio of innovation.
Thank you for the presentation. I just had a question about the innovation for business model. You took the example of the watchmakers industry and the CPO market. I just wanted your opinion about that because I read that in the following years it could overcome the traditional market. So do you think that it will become a necessity for all the watchmakers companies to enter this market? Or?
There is potential to enter this market. So, but the question is, are you okay to sell the same watch 30 or 20 or 30% less than the new watch in the same place? So there is a market, no doubt on that. All the studies say there is a market, and you can access a new client segment that were not used to the luxury code, but with providing them some more lower price. You can also imagine to have like financing services to allow them to pay it over the long term. So let's take the example of the automotive industry. So there are CPO program for Aston Martin, for Rolls-Royce, for Porsche. And when you enter, so if you go to Porsche Geneva, you enter, you have the new on the left and the pre-owned on the right. And there's no problem. There's a market. They went through all those steps. What is the business model? We know we have to take all cars to renew, to do the authentication of the car, of the PCs, and then to resell it, and that they will do between 5 and 10% margin, where they do really bigger margin on new products. So I'm convinced that it's the end goal. It's just that when you go with this example of the automotive industry and you have discussion with matchmaker, they do not feel as it's like a mirroring story. But all the ingredients, all the questions that they have to make it a success have been answered by the automotive industry. Yes.
You talked about organization and the separation between the CEO and the chief exploration officer or whatever. I feel it's relevant for business model innovation. I mean, very ambitious innovations. But when you look at maybe more inherent innovations like the use of AI, the introduction of AI in the processes or in the way you do things, I feel that if you separate, and it's often a problem, and you have an innovation direction, for example, it's too far from the business, too far from the users, and sometimes you can test a technology or solution, and it's not adopted by the users, and the fact that you have two heads create a kind of a gap. So yes, for business model innovation, like I don't know, creating a new revenue source that is completely different from what you're doing initially. You took the CPO example, and I think it's a relevant one. But for more inherent innovation, I think it creates more complexity than enabling.
From what I understood from in your question is, there's innovation or technological innovation that can serve to improve some processes or the way you interact with suppliers, with customers, whatever. So, which is often seen as like patching something. So you will implement that and that and that, and it's not thought as a how it will serve to make additional business or to be a new business. That's the problem is more than this technology, AI. It's seen as a hype, and we expect to have returns there and there and there. When the question is more thinking long term, where it will improve value, what kind of business model it will create, or how it will change the way I operate my business today. And it's not only a small change there and there. So it's more in the cultural mindset. In the morning show this morning was with Pedro from Richemont. His last question was innovation. So open innovation, is it hype or long run? And the answer was of all people from the panel was it's a long run. But you have to be aware of all the new technologies, all the new things that came, because your boss will ask you, and you have also to be aware of the hype. But you have to run your innovation entity or your funnel of innovation more over the long term, thinking at how it will change the way you do business. So of course, some innovation can be useful in the company to accelerate process, to reduce risk, to reduce errors, or to reduce non-value added tasks. But here the idea and was more. The question was how innovation can make company more resilient. So it's continue to sell more and with profitability. So that's why we took the angle of creating new business model and helping to provide new services to customer over the long run.
So you mentioned that there are 4 different pillars on innovation, and you said that the clienteling and client relation part is, let's say, the strongest suit for luxury brands. But do you feel that there is still room for innovation in the client relationship domain? And if yes, do you have any examples?
Yes, of course there is. But we took the assumption that it could have been part of some other conferences here, and there are a lot of conferences around how to put more hospitality codes in the luxury in the relationship between the maison and the client. So there are still maison and brands have not the same maturity. There are still room for improvement. We all talk about omni-channel. So if I refer to just to the study we have run, so on the watchmaking industry, not all of the top 30 watch brands offer a pure e-commerce service, meaning you purchase online and you get it at home. Half of them ask you to go to the shop, or it's mandatory to go to the boutique. You cannot choose. So it's good to drive traffic to the boutique and to share the DNA of the brand, but the client needs to have the ability to select which delivery mode they would like to have. So these are few examples, but all along the customer journey. So if you consider omnichannelity, there are room for improvement, and the maturity of the brands are really different. So especially if we consider the top 30 brands from the watch industry. Yes.
You talked about personalization, product personalization. Do you have examples of the ones you think are the best?
In terms of examples, or what to transpose for 10 years, so 15 years. The watch industry is saying that personalization is a driver of business, but I mean the tailor-made product, or like half tailor-made product. So if we look at the Nike ID product, where you go, you choose your Air Max and you select. So you have 15, 18 pieces. You can select the color, the material of each. You click it, and then 2 weeks after you have it at home the way you want it to have. So why it's not possible to have that on a watch? You choose a model, you choose the color of the dial, you choose some like decoration elements that you can have. So the example like the Nike ID is something that is brilliant. Not been copied by a lot, and especially in the luxury industry, personalization as so if you is just to have your initials printed on a bag. So it's like really the step 0.1 of personalization, where there are many more steps. But personalization can also, so I talk about the product. Can also be on the service and on the way you would like to have. So maybe it's also personalizing the way you sell a watch. Maybe for 10 months in the year, you would like to have this model that is more like a city wear watch, but you would like also to be able to have 5 days a year when you go to a wedding, like a more expensive or more shiny one, and maybe you will, for when you will go in the summer holidays, you would like to have another one that is more resistant to shock or whatever. So so we can imagine that brand can also innovate in the way they sell bundling or services to their clients. Yeah, if no more question right now, there will be a small aperitif served in the room. They will come here, so we can follow the discussion together.
Thank you.
Hello.